Mike Cerrone with Mastermind Agent, and welcome to the webinar, How to Beat a Discount Broker. Ever get beat out by a broker charging less? Eliminate this problem with a simple one-page document. All right, we have a few minutes here before we get started. We're waiting for some more people to show up. Do me a favor, if you are just coming in, let us know where you're coming in from. So over here on the left, you're going to see that there's a chat box. It'll be somewhere on your screen depending on which device you're using. So scroll up or down or go left or right, you'll find it. And it's a question and comment box. And in the bottom, this is so that you can participate in the Q&A at the end or ask your questions as we go. In the bottom, go ahead and type in your city. We'll do a little test here. Type in your city and press enter, and then a little screen's going to pop up number 2 there. On line number 2, go ahead and type in your name and press go. And if you do that, you'll become part of our chat. And as I mentioned, you can ask questions as we're moving along, which I'll be answering at the end. But you can write them in while you're thinking about them. And then also, at the end, we'll be doing a Q&A, and you can use that chat box to ask me questions. So hopefully that's going to help out. Let's see if that's working. Hey, sweet. We've got some folks here. We got Boston. We got Toronto, Canada. We got San Diego, Fullerton. I bet that's California. Charlotte, North Carolina. El Paso, Texas. Chino Hills, California. This is awesome. This is fantastic. Thank you so much for putting that in there. So that also tells me I think that everybody can hear me, so that's good as well. So we got about 3 minutes before we get started. If you need to grab some water or a pen and paper, those kind of things, that'd be fantastic. All right. I'm going to just take a quick break here, get some water, and we'll get started here soon. All right, hi, I'm Mike Cerrone with Mastermind Agent, and welcome to the webinar today. We're going to do 5 webinars in 5 days. This is the first one, How to Beat a Discount Broker. Ever get beat out by a broker charging less? Eliminate this problem with a simple one-page document. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're really going to dive deep into this one idea. And if you're just joining us, go ahead and participate in our chat so that we can get your questions answered as we go. This is how you'll get yourself set up on the chat. And there's going to be a yellow-orange box somewhere on your screen. Depending on which kind of device you're using, go to the bottom of that box. Number 1, type in the city you're from. Let's go ahead and start with that nice and easy. When you press enter, number 2 pops up, and you can enter your temporary name. Just pick number 2. It's the easiest. Go ahead, enter your name there and click go. And that's the last time you have to do that for today. And then you're ready to go into the chat, and you can add comments and questions as we move through the webinar. So, oh, this is great. So we got some more folks. We got Mary from Naples, Florida, and Tuscaloosa, I think I'm saying that right, Westfield, New Jersey, Fullerton, California. I think we had another Fullerton. We got Oakland, Florida. Hi, everyone in Chatland. Chicago. We got Kim in Atlanta, Georgia. Houston, we have Natalie. This is fantastic, folks. Thank you so much for joining me today. We got Tammy in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Very nice. Haymarket, Virginia, Chicago, Phoenix, Arizona, Washington, D.C. Hey, this is fantastic. Thank you so much for putting your information into the chat there so that you can participate when we get to the Q&A. All right, so looks like we have about 1.5 minutes left. I'm going to get another drink of water here, fighting something in my throat, and we'll get it started soon. Hi, I'm Mike Cerrone with Mastermind Agent, and if you're here for the webinar, How to Beat a Discount Broker, Ever Get Beat Out by a Broker Charging Less, Eliminate This Problem with a Simple One-Page Document, you are in the right place. I will be starting here briefly, real quick. If you're just coming in, you can participate in our chat and ask questions. As we get to the end, this will get you started. So there's going to be a box somewhere on your screen. If you'll go down to the bottom, and let's start with typing in your city, number 1, where you're from, and press enter. When you do that, this little box pops up, number 2, and just go down to the second option, temporary name. You can type in your name there. That's the easiest, and press go, and then you're set up to ask questions either as we move along and more importantly at the end when we do the Q&A. So it looks like this is working, which is awesome. Aloha from Hawaii. Hey, May, that's awesome. Marcella, Halifax, Nova Scotia, Canada. Wow, that's cool. Gloria from Corona, California. Hello. Rochester, New York. Spokane, Washington. Liz in Boulder. Hey, Liz. New York. This is fantastic, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me today. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so let me get to the right screen. There we go. So here we go. Let's get this webinar started. So how to be the discount broker is the webinar title. That's the topic we're going to touch base with, and we're going to dig deep. We want to find out, have you ever gotten beaten out by a broker charging less? I know I have, and so we're going to talk about how you deal with that. We're going to eliminate this problem with a simple one-page document. By the way, today, this is a live webinar. This is not pre-recorded. So today is July 31st, 2017. It's 11 a.m. Mountain Time. That's where I am. I'm in Denver. And so it'd be like, I think, 1 o'clock on the East Coast and 10 o'clock on the West Coast. So again, this is live. And when we get to the Q&A, be sure to ask your questions so we can get some answers for you. I'm pretty excited about this. Been working on putting all these webinars together. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. This is a deep dive, and I'm hoping that it's going to be quick and to the point. We'll be done in about 60 to 70 minutes. There will be no replays because I keep messing up the technology. I can't promise that. So please stay to the end. And if you've been here with me before, I did do a webinar where I tried to do it in 60 to 70. I ended up 2.5 hours. If anybody stay with me, thank you so much. I do not plan on that happening today. Okay, I think I got it figured out, so we'll be much more concise this time around. But it is all brand new material, so we'll see how it goes. All right, here we go. If you have any questions as we move along, go ahead and type them into the box, but be aware I can't look at that and do the presentation at the same time, so I'm going to be answering your questions at the end, but the box is there so you can write in your questions so you don't forget them. Again, you might want to get some paper and pencil if you don't already, and take notes, and then also write in your questions and maybe a drink. All right, so you're in the right place. If you're a real estate agent who's tired of losing listings to discount brokers who give away their commission or work for free just to put a sign in the yard, then hurt the homeowner by selling the house for a discount price because they have no marketing plan or course of action. I'm sure you bumped into these folks. If you want a way to show the homeowner that a discount broker is not putting more money in the seller's pocket, but they're actually resulting in less net, and that's the key, net dollars at the closing table. You want to beat discount brokers before they hurt more sellers, take away your clients, and force you to lower your rate to compete for business. Even with your friends and family. That really drove me crazy, but it's going to come from all different directions. And you want a tool to help you win against discount brokers while maintaining your full commission rate and offering the best service. And by the way, you may notice I'm reading this, and there's a reason for that. I don't want to miss anything. I also want to stay on track. As you know, I can go off on tangents, so I'm going to try to keep myself on track and make sure you get all the core information. All right, so here we go. What are you going to learn today? You're going to learn how to win against a discount broker by using facts and figures to show the truth about your competitor. Discount brokers rarely result in more money for the seller because they discount the price of the home too. They can't help it. They're discounters, and they discount everything. By the way, that is a great little statement for you to use with a seller when they bring up the idea of a discount broker. All right, how to develop a simple one-page document that proves to the seller that you're the best choice over the discount broker, and what to say to the seller so they reject the discount broker, embrace you, and happily pay your full service commission, and even brag to their friends and family about why it was better to hire you. You're going to give them logical reasons for why they're going to make the right decision. All right, I got a free surprise for you if you stay to the end. I've got this seller net sheet. It's a copy of my seller net sheet, the seller intake form that I used when I was out there working with sellers, and you're going to find out their motivation and timing by using a form like this and set up the appointment for the listing. I used this form when I listed the 21 homes in 30 days, and I believe that you could take this form, modify it slightly, and use it today in your market. Okay, so that's going to come up at the end. If you stay with me to the end, I'll show you how to get that. All right, so who is Mike Cerrone and why should you listen to him? I know that there are people on the call that have been with me before. I appreciate that. You know all about me, but I also know I have a lot of new folks. And so I'm going to go through this real quick to give you a little bit of background so you don't think I'm some crazy person just blabbling away up here. So here we go. So I've had my real estate license now for 24 years. I started really slow. Don't know if you did or not, but I started really slow. I sold 7 homes in my first full year. My broker told me I was doing great, better than average, but I didn't feel it because I wasn't eating very well. I stalled out. I kept going, and I got it up to 20 closings per year, but then I stalled out for like 3 years in a row. I couldn't get past 20 closings per year. I was kind of stuck. I was a little bit hard-headed. I hope that doesn't sound familiar to you, but it might. I wanted to invent everything myself. I was a little bit prideful. Well, 19 years ago, that's how far along it's been now, but 19 years ago, I heard about a 1-hour videotape of a top agent who was demonstrating his listing presentation. And I knew that if I focused on listings, I could stabilize my income, and I was hoping that I could also increase it because I was on that roller coaster ride. I just didn't know how. So I got the opportunity to buy this tape, but I wouldn't invest the money because it was a lot of money. It was about $1,000 in today's dollars to get that one videotape of this one top agent demonstrating his listing presentation. I knew it would help me, but I was freezing. So then as I moved along, every time I struggled on a listing appointment, i.e. I didn't get it, things didn't work out, I remembered that tape and I wondered, geez, if I learned some of those ideas from that top agent, could that help me get through the struggles that I had? Well, 1 year later, I just finally broke down. I said, you know what? I can't wait any longer. I've got to break out of this cycle. And I invested the money and I got the tape. Now, back then, it took a while because I had to come by mail. It took 2 weeks to get to me. I was so impatient about it, but it finally got to me, and I ripped that package open as soon as it got into my office, and I couldn't wait to watch it. So I ran home, and I slammed it into the VCR tape. That's how old this is. It was an old VCR, and I watched it over and over again, backing it up and watching it forward and listening to this guy and what he was saying. And the next day I went back to my office, I modified my listing presentation, and I took a listing that night, and it was super easy just by making a couple of tweaks. Sometimes that's all it takes. I spent a few more hours rewatching that video and tweaking my presentation. I just kept modeling the top agents, and that's the key word for today. What he said and how to present to the seller, and everything went up from there. That year, I focused on listings, and my production doubled from 20 to 41. I finally broke out of that 20 closings per year cycle, and I continued to master my presentation. And soon, I was listing 5 to 10 homes per month. And in my best month, I listed 21 homes in 30 days at 21 different kitchen tables. And I want to clarify that. This is not an REO account. It wasn't with a bank. I didn't know any of these people, by the way. These were all new people. I was prospecting and marketing for new clients and pulling them in and going out and just meeting all these different people. And I listed 21 homes in 30 days. It was super exciting. And I mention this because if I can ramp this up, so can you. My production jumped to 95 closings and then 113 closings in 1 year the following year. And that year I was ranked in the top 300 agents in the nation by the National Association of Realtors magazine. I couldn't find the magazine, but I found, I lost it somehow. But here is a clip from online. I was top 300. I was ranked 263. And that year I closed 113 transactions here in Lakewood, Colorado. So that was pretty exciting. I got to tell you, that was pretty cool, especially the revenue that was coming in. My only mistake that I feel that I made was that I waited that 1 year to buy that tape and find out how to take those listings. I literally made, I've added it up, I've literally made 1,000 times my investment back over the next few years after getting that tape. So even though it seemed like it was huge at the time, it turned out to be a bargain. I just wish I wouldn't have lost that year by waiting. Now, the other thing that I realized is that this listing process is transferable. If I could learn it from the top agents, the question was, could then maybe I teach it to someone else? So I decided to hire a listing agent, a listing specialist. And at the time, this was a really new idea. It was a really new concept. Didn't know of anybody in my market doing it, and only a few of the top agents around the nation. I thought, why don't I try this? Again, it was super new at the time. And because it was new, nobody wanted to do it. I couldn't find anybody. I finally found a young man in his 20s named Jamie. He was a very nice guy. He'd had his license for 6 months. He'd only closed 2 buyers in that time, and he'd never taken a listing. But he was really friendly, and nobody else applied for the job. So I said, you know what, I'm going to give you a shot. Well, the first month, I trained him a few hours per week. I really wasn't doing a very good job. I talked to him a few minutes here or there because I was running around taking listings. And so he was getting pretty restless, and it was obvious that he was probably thinking about leaving. So the second month, I said, you know what, I'm really busy. I've shown you kind of the basics. I'm going to send you on a few solo listing appointments, and I'm going to send you out with my reject leads, people I don't even think are going to sign up. And amazingly, he started listing homes. He listed over half the appointments we sent him on in his second month. By his third month on the job, he listed 14 homes in 30 days and was earning $10,000 per month. And by the way, that's net money. I think I was only paying, maybe 15 or 20% of the gross commission on the listing side, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when you have zero costs, it really adds up. He was doing fantastic. So how did this work? I believe it's modeling. I modeled the top agents, and Jamie modeled me. So I went on, by the way, if people want to know the rest of the story, I went on to open up and build real estate brokerages, mortgage brokerages, real estate investment companies. I sold off. Now I'm semi-retired from real estate, but I'm kind of young, so I didn't want to do nothing. So today I interviewed the top agents in the nation for success calls. That had always been helpful for me to hear from these top agents. So I do that on the Mastermind Agent Network. And occasionally I host summits with top trainers and top agents. And I recently hosted the Listing Agent Summit, where 14 top agents demonstrated their listing presentations in detail and showed us their exact presentation scripts and handouts. And now what I want to do is I want to share some of the findings from that summit with you. So that's where we're going with all this. Thank you so much for listening to my background. Now let's get into the meat. Oh, by the way, at the summit, I want you to know these weren't nobodies. These were some top agents that were talking. We had Eric Hatch, who sold 508 homes in 1 year. Chantel Ray on track to sell 13 homes in the year. Brian Macker, 235 homes. Melinda Estridge, 120 homes. Nate Martinez, 616 homes. Patrick Tuttle, 80 homes. Paul Wheeler, 248 homes. Judy Jackson, who's a listing specialist for one of the top agents, listed 7 homes in 7 days. Shane White, 212 homes. Steve Cohen, 106 homes. Shar McCollum, 210. Bob McTagg, also 210. Wayne Turner, 286. And Denny Grimes, 400 homes in 1 year. These people know what they're talking about. They're out there every day beating the bushes. I want you to know that's where the information is coming from that I'm about to share with you. After I did that summit, I watched these 14 agents demonstrate their presentations over and over again, and I just kept seeing all these amazing details pop out. The stuff I would see on the third viewing was better than the stuff I saw on the second. And each top agent was sharing so much, I couldn't get it all the first time. But I want to see patterns because patterns are so important. The success leaves clues. And if you go back in and you watch close enough, you're going to see those patterns. And so I actually ended up taking those results of what I saw, and I created a 39-page listing presentation template that was modeled after the common elements of the top agent presentations. And now I'd like to jump in to one of the major lessons I learned in that process. To get a big picture view of what was happening there, let's talk about the 10-step listing process of the top agents. That's kind of what I was able to reduce this to, and I'm going to go through this super fast. One, you want to screen and then set that appointment. You want to qualify those folks. You're going to send out a pre-listing package. You're going to go out to the house and do a greet and tour. You're going to re-qualify before you start your full presentation. You're going to establish your expertise, show them your marketing plan, how you're going to get that home sold, value the property, show them the net sheet, go for the close, for the signature, handle any objections that pop up, and then you're going to tell them what's going to happen next. So that's the big picture of what all the top agents are doing. And today I want to focus on number 9, close and handle objection. We're really going to focus on this last part, resolve the questions. What happens when they bring up this question of the discount broker? It often happens at the end, and you're like, oh my gosh, why didn't I know about this earlier? How can I deal with this? All right, so boom, there we go. All right, so at the summit, we had this top agent, Shar McCollum, give us this great idea and how she handles this problem of discount brokers. And so let's start with it. So, do you cringe when a seller asks you to reduce your commission to match a discount broker? I know I do. That is a very uncomfortable time. Shar McCollum, who sold 210 homes in 1 year, was tired of dealing with this problem and didn't think that the premise was right, this premise that the discount broker is going to actually make more money for the seller. So she researched the true cost and reward of working with the biggest discount broker in their town, the one she kept running into in a competition out there on the listings. And she compared the net results, not the top line, but the bottom line, the net results, to her own results. And in order to do that, you need to use the average sales to list price ratio, which we'll talk about more in a minute. She discovered that after you add up all the discount broker's hidden fees, okay, and subtracted the lower average prices of the discount broker, the seller actually earned more net profit with Shar, even though she has a higher commission rate. So you probably already know that in your gut, and now you need to figure out a way to present that to the seller so they understand it and want to hire you. Well, what she did is she turned around and mapped it out on her form that she calls Debunking the Discount Broker Myth. Great title there. And she hands that form to the seller, she reviews it with the seller, and then it immediately eliminates the discount broker from consideration, and Shar wins the listing. And she could do it right there at the presentation. She doesn't have to try to figure this out later or come up with it on the fly. Now, you can download the complete form inside the summit, but what I want to do with you here right now is I want to walk through this form, show you what it is, and you can create your own form. So the other thing I promised you was a script. What are you going to do when that seller brings up this idea of the discount broker? What are you going to do with that? So here's what I recommend you use as a script or something like this. Take this as a template. This is where I'd start making some notes. Here we go. I'd say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I can appreciate that you want to save money on the sale of your home. You believe that if you reduce your costs, you will end up with more money after the sale, correct? That's logical. However, reducing your costs does not always result in a higher profit because of hidden fees and surprise expenses. Can I show you why a discount broker might actually result in less money in your pocket? Let's take a look at this document. And that's your script. What you're doing is you're telling them, look, there's challenges out there that you may not be aware of. Let me show you what they are. Will you give me permission to show you what's really going on? You're creating doubt. Now they're starting to wonder, well, is that discount broker really better or not? And now we're going to get into the facts that are going to support this argument. Okay, so let's now get into the form used. Let's now get into the form used by Shar. Okay, so first you need to define a discount broker to the seller. And that's what she does at the top of her form, because everybody has a different definition, that's the word, a different definition for what a discount broker is. And so Shar wants to get out that she's talking about these discount brokers that have a flat fee that they collect at the time of the listing. They may have a smaller amount of the commission that's going to be offset by that than a traditional agent. She's given some details there. And then she says, hey, let's talk about the actual numbers from one popular discount broker in her area. Okay. So now she's going to compare the true cost And what she has is this really cool little diagram here that she developed and created. It looks like a little chalkboard, compares the discount broker to her. It's going to show the real numbers in black and white and the true cost of using your services versus the discount broker. So again, on the right there now, you should be seeing that as a snapshot of the comparison of Shar versus the discount broker, and it's based on a very small sales price of $85,373.89. Now she's out there in Kansas. Prices in your market may be different, but that was a price that she was seeing. And the key is this concept. So don't get hung up on the sales price. Get into the concept of what you can do here. By the way, a larger price is going to be even a more dramatic difference. So she's going to show the difference in net profit, basically how much money, going to bring it down to dollars and cents, that the seller will walk out of closing with. She adds up the true cost of that discount broker, and that's including this flat listing fee, broker fee, buyer agent commission, listing commission, plus the cost of the lower LTS, the list to sales price ratio. And that's the key. That's what's kind of the equalizer or the balancer to this whole scenario. Then she also adds up the cost of using herself, and she pastes that out there. And then when you look at the comparison, it reveals the true cost of the discount broker is actually higher than using Shar, the traditional agent and the traditional payment system. All right, now the other thing I want to point out here is notice that she's showing the difference in dollars, not percentages, okay? Well, a lot of people are not comfortable with math, so percentages seem a little strange. And so you want to use dollars and cents. So you can, if you look at her form right now, all the way at the bottom, circled in red, it really jumps out at you. You make $2,426.55 more. There's a couple of important things there. One, she's brought it down to a dollar amount. Two, she's highlighted it in red. Three, she's brought it all the way out to the penny based on this sales price that she mentions elsewhere in the form. And it makes it very specific. And that's what you always want to do, by the way. You don't want to just say, hey, make $2,500 more. That's fine, but that's too generic. Get it right down to the penny. It seems more real. And she used this on a real example of a house in her area. So that's another little tidbit that you want to use when you're using these scenarios, you're creating these scenarios. All right, so let's talk about research. In order to make this work, you're going to need to do some MLS research. Okay, you need two pieces of information. One, you need your average list to sales price ratio, the LTS, and two, you need the discount broker's average list to sales price ratio, right? You need yours and theirs. You need to find out when you list a home, how close do you get the final sales price to what you listed the home for? What percentage is that? Most MLS systems have this search option in their program. You're going to do a summary search for the listings sold in let's say the last 12 months, the last year by you, and then you're going to look at the LTS ratio in those results. They're typically already calculated by your MLS. Now, if you don't have a 12-month history, use what you have. So if you've only been doing this for 6 or 7 or 8 months, then use that. Use whatever time period you have. So don't get hung up just because you don't have 12 months if that's the case. If you're brand new, you can use your office stats. Okay, there's always a solution here. All right. I had an agent who told me she took a year and a half off to deal with her son who became sick with cancer. If something like that happens, then just use the 12 months prior to that and just make sure that when you compare against the discount broker, you use the same time period. Okay, so don't get hung up on those times. I hear that a lot, and I want you to know that just make an adjustment and then make sure you're comparing apples to apples. So you then do the same research for the discount broker, all right? And with this information, you can now fill out the chart because you know the differences in the LTS ratios. All right, the other thing that I think you should look at is often when you do these summary researches, you're going to find average days on the market, the DOM2. And I want you to look at that number and compare your number to that discount broker because you're probably selling homes faster than that discount broker, which is more savings in time and money for the seller. And anytime you're better, you want to brag about that. So make sure that you include that in your document. I would add that baby in. All right. In her document, I'm continuing through Shar's document. You want to define, well, I think that's a misprint on my headline there, but let's keep going. You want to write out the explanation of the numbers and calculations in words. So here over on the right, you can see that she basically took, I'm going to go back up real fast. Boom. She basically took this summary of the numbers and boom, she put it into text, okay? She put it into words because a lot of people, again, are scared of numbers. Now, you're probably not scared of numbers. You may be, but you're probably not because you chose this profession. But a lot of people are. So she tried to write it out to make it simpler to read for somebody who doesn't like numbers or math, okay? But it's still proving how expensive this discount broker is in the end compared to her. All right, so we talked about most people are scared of numbers and they're going to freeze, so give them another way to read it. You want to outline it in a simple format that's easy for the seller to consume. Notice at the bottom how Shar points out that the seller will need to pay the discount broker even if the broker does not perform and fails to sell the home. Okay, so this form is loaded with value bombs that show that Shar is stronger than the discount broker. What it's basically showing down there is that the discount broker gets paid that flat listing fee at the beginning. Well, it could be 2 or 3 times the amount if that listing expires and that seller needs to relist. So there's actually an incentive for this broker to do short-term listing periods and to drag out the sale because they can keep clicking off and getting that fee. So always point out why you're better than your competitor. All right. You also need to show your rates. So Shar has a special section in her form where she's going to show what her rates are to make it very clear and straightforward. She's showing how she earns her commission and the buyer agent, she's going to pay a buyer agent co-op their fee as well. Notice she also mentions in the bottom here the difference where she's not going to be paid if the home does not sell. She doesn't get this flat listing fee at the beginning. And it shows that we're working towards the same goal. All right, you also need to quote your source. So at the bottom, Shar has a disclosure of where she found the list to sales price ratio, what it is for the discount broker, what it is for her. That's how she calculated the numbers in her chart. She also shows what the sales price was, and it was based on a home in her area. It also shows all the information you need to know to make a full decision there. So again, it shows the LTS, the sample home price that she used. I would add something here at the bottom that I didn't see in her form, and maybe I missed it, but I would add what the source was, the MLS, because sometimes you have different MLSs in your area. So add the MLS and the date search to make sure that you're using the same time frame for you and the discount broker. So let's say you did a 6-month search, January 1, 2017 through June 30, 2017. State that in your document somewhere so everybody knows that you're up on board and above board, and that is going to build trust in your numbers. Okay, so I'm sure you're probably asking, how do you find out what the discount broker's fees are in order to make this comparison chart? Well, you're going to do some research. All right, you're going to list, first of all, find out who the discount brokers are in your area and make a list. It's going to be pretty easy. You're going to bump into them. You find them online pretty quickly. You're probably going to bump into the same agent or broker out there on your listing appointments a couple times and realize, geez, I got to fix this. I got to get a solution. Well, write it down. Write down their name and add that to your research. And then there's only going to be a few of them, so go to their websites and read. Most post their exact pricing plans online because this is their marketing plan to get listings. They just offer this low rate. Be sure to read the fine print, though. Dig deep. Get into the disclosures at the bottom of the page. That is the key. That's where you're going to find out the hidden fee information down there at the bottom of the page. So dig down deep into the bottom of the page, find out exactly what they're charging, and bring that to light for your seller in your form. All right, so again, what if you have more than one discount broker, that you're competing with? Again, it's not going to be that many. I'm telling you, it'll probably be 1, 2, or 3, but just find out who they are and make more than one document. Don't try to throw them all into one document. Make 3 or 4 separate documents, whatever it takes. Have them, a couple copies of each in your briefcase ready to go. And when you bump into one of these, just pull it out of your briefcase and hand it to the seller. and you'll be ready to rock. So don't worry if there's more than one. That's probably going to be common. There's probably one big one and maybe two others that are a smaller. In my area, there were two people that I needed to know that I was working against. So discounters, beware. You are now ready to beat that discount broker. Again, you want to go in armed with facts and figures so that you're sure to win. The seller will appreciate your full service and marketing plan. You're about to win more listings at your full commission rate in this hyper competitive market. I know it's tough out there. A lot of agents are cutting their rates to be more competitive, but you don't have to compete on price. You can compete on value, and now you have a way to show that your value is, in fact, better. You're going to sell more homes for sellers at great prices and higher profits for them and for you. Everybody's going to win here. So discount brokers, beware. There's a way to handle this. Now, I'm not sure why you showed up today. It could be that you want to know how to beat out a discount broker with logic in a simple one-page document. It could be that you want to improve your listing presentation so that you sign more sellers and beat out other agents in this hyper-competitive market without discounting your commission and while earning your full fee. It could be you want to gain the confidence of knowing that you have an awesome presentation so you start attracting sellers to you like a magnet. And it could be that you want to learn how the top agents list and sell hundreds of homes each year because you want to do the same thing or at least ramp up your production. Well, if there's one thing that you can take away from today, it's that I've cracked the code for modeling the top agents' listing presentations and duplicating their results. It's literally changed my world, the world of my new listing agent, and the world of my students. It's very much a replicatable system that you can apply to your real estate practice, and you can finally have consistent, dependable monthly income and the freedom to enjoy it. So the obvious question is, how can you apply this code, this system, this model of the top agent listing presentations to your business and create a consistent monthly income? Well, I believe you have a choice. You can do it slowly using trial and error like I tried to do in the old days, taking some of what I shared today, or you can do it quickly by using models such as in the Listing Agent Summit Recordings training program. When in doubt, bring in Einstein. Einstein said everything should be made as simple as possible, but not simpler, right? So get down to the crux of it. What is the Listing Agent Summit Recordings? You're probably wondering. At the summit, 14 top agents demonstrated their listing presentation as we watch over their shoulders and onto their computer screens, and you can see and download their real-life listing presentation documents, exactly what they're using, hear and mimic their words and scripts, and model their best practices. And it was all recorded on video. This is absolutely the fastest way to get from point A to point B. So you can get to your, you can go to your goal slowly, like in this rickety little machine here, or you can get there quickly in a hot red Ferrari. It's really up to you how fast you want to go. Here's what you get inside of the summit. You get videos. You get 14 training videos of the top agents demonstrating their exact listing presentation in detail. You get samples and handouts. You get dozens of downloadable samples and handouts so that you can see their entire listing system from start to finish, including seller lead sheets and appointment setting scripts, pre-listing packages. We got listing presentations with full marketing plans. You got pricing charts and graphs, got forms and checklists, and the seller handouts, what you're typically giving them at the end to prep their home for photos and show, get prepared for a showing quickly on a quick show checklist. It really comes down to a simple idea. If you want to list homes like the top agents, model the top listing presentations and get the same results that they get. It's really that simple. It's worked for me, it worked for my listing agent, and it'll work for you. Just model the top agents. So you're probably asking, okay, Mike, fine, how much is this going to cost me? Well, 19 years ago, I wanted to see inside the listing presentation of one top agent who is listing and selling 200 homes per year. I want to be just like him. So after 1 year of procrastinating, I finally broke down and got his 1 hour videotape. I got to see his materials, listen to how he's presented, and understand his philosophy. Well, was it worth it? Absolutely. I watched the video made it my own, practiced, and went out and started taking listings, lots and lots of listings. What were the results? Well, they happened really quickly. I was able to ramp up to taking 5 to 10 homes, listing 5 to 10 homes per month, which was really cool. And then in my best month, I listed 21 homes in 30 days. Well, how did I do it? I just modeled the top agents and it worked. I made my investment back when my first listing closed. And then I made literally thousands of times my investment over the next few years. I would never trade that experience. I only wish I would not have procrastinated and waited the 1 year. I would have been earning that much faster. I also believe this information is duplicatable. Eventually I want to expand with the listing agent, and so I hired a new agent who only had his license for 6 months and only closed 2 buyer transactions, and he was listing homes in his second month with my reject leads, and then he listed 14 homes in 30 days in his third month on the job. These concepts are transferable and anyone can learn, and I let you know that. That's why I'm telling you this story, is I want you to know that you can do this as well. You can take this information, apply it to your business, and see immediate results. Modeling successful systems is the key. I modeled the top agents and quickly became a success. Then my new listing agent modeled me and ramped up fast. And now you can model the top agents and start listing homes too. So what is the value of this idea here, this summit? Well, the 1 hour VCR videotape that I purchased with the one top agent basically cost me about $1,000 in today's money. In this summit, there are 14 top agents demonstrating their exact listing presentation and sharing their handouts. When I got that videotape, I didn't get the handouts, and you can now download the handouts and see exactly what they have. So based on that, the 14 video recordings should cost somewhere around $14,000 in today's money. And they'd be worth it. I mean, just think about it. A couple closings, they'd be paid for, and every listing after that would be pure profit. But you don't have to pay $14,000, not even $10,000. It's not even $5,000. Now, what I should have done is probably charge $2,000. There were a lot of people telling me that that was the right price, but I'm not going to do that either. You can get the entire summit recordings for only one payment of $997 today. Just one payment of $997. You'll knock that out with your first listing closed. Now, something else that I've heard when I presented this before is people said, Mike, I would like you to create some kind of payment plan so I can spread this out a little bit, make it a little easier on my budget. And I thought about it, and I've created something just for this webinar. If you want to do this, just on this webinar, I'll offer this. It's $97 a month for 12 months. You can spread it out for over a year. You're going to be cashing in a whole ton of listings in that time, but this is my webinar only special where you can do this nice, easy monthly payment for a year. And yes, by the way, when you purchase, you get the whole thing right now. I'm not going to spread out giving you some of the documents over the next couple weeks or next couple months or year, whatever. You're going to get the whole thing right now so you can jump right in and get full access. Plus, if you buy here, I'm going to give you the 3 fast action bonuses. I call these the student-driven bonuses, as they were all designed at the request of Summit students to make this training even more easy and simple. Remember Einstein. So fast action bonus number 1, the seller lead sheet template. I modeled this template on the top agent systems that I saw to create a simple Word template that you can use out of the box. You can use it to quickly determine the seller's motivation and timing. I want you to get a quick, fast start right when that call comes in from your marketing, or when you bump into somebody, you can immediately ask them the right questions to determine, are they ready to sell and are they motivated? All right, and then you also can set appointments with the best leads using this form. Fast action bonus number 2, the listing presentation template. One of the things I'm very proud of, what I did was I researched, I looked over and over at the 14 presentations, and I took out the common elements of all 14 to create a top agent presentation. It's a 39-page fill-in-the-blank template that you can use, that you can do it in Word or PowerPoint. It's already ready to go. So if you like to do it in paper, it's Word. If you like to do PowerPoint, it's all on screen. All you have to do is enter your name, photo, phone, email, a couple little pieces of data, and you're ready to rock and start taking listings like the pros in 24 hours or less. So that is a really cool bonus. I hope you take us up on that. Fast action bonus number 3, my listing presentation that I used to list 21 homes in 30 days. People kept asking, Mike, what were you doing to do so many listings? Well, here's my actual presentation. Now, I'll tell you, it's a little bit older, okay? But I feel that I could take this presentation and I could use it today with a couple smart modifications, and I would be taking listings like crazy again in this market. So you can download the presentation, you can see my marketing plan. Also, I think something really cool, which is my price bracket strategy that I haven't seen anybody else use. I've seen a couple modified versions of it, but my price bracket strategy that I used to get homes priced correctly the first time. And if for some reason I couldn't get it the first time, it made it really easy to get a price reduction going in the second time by pointing this all out at the very beginning. And you'll see how I closed listings at my full commission rate. So you get that. And then I decided, you know what, I got to give another bonus here. So I have a webinar only bonus. If you buy today on this webinar, you're going to get one more thing. I personally believe that if you get your listing presentation down pat, you get that thing really honed in, you will have the confidence to start bringing in seller leads like a magnet. I think that you kind of put a barrier in front of yourself if you don't have your presentation ready to go when you're out there prospecting and marketing for business. So what I heard is I heard people say, geez, Mike, how do you generate the leads in the first place? So in this, if you purchase this program today, you'll get a copy of the Agent Lead Generation Summit recordings. And what this is 17 top agents answered this question in detail. What is your #1 best lead generation method in today's market? Okay, they go in detail. You look over their screen. It's all on video. It's really awesome. It's really cool. So they're going to jump into a lot of different topics because this is their #1 idea. So for instance, you have Facebook ads and how to generate sellers. Listen to what I said. Facebook ads on how to generate seller leads, which is really cool. Geographic farming, past clients, sphere of influence, and referrals, which a lot of them have done, and they'll show you how they're doing it, and you can apply to your business right away. Internet leads, including pay-per-click, SEO, IDX, stealth sites. There's all kinds of stuff I couldn't fit on here. Phone prospecting, open houses, and more. So that is a bonus that you get. You'll learn how to generate the leads in so that you can go out there and get the appointments and sign them. Well, when you invest, you have my personal 30-day money-back guarantee. So to recap, it all starts with taking action today. My biggest regret was waiting the 1 year before I bought the videotape of the top agents demonstrating their listing presentations because I didn't want to invest the money, and it was a huge mistake. But after I did, everything turned around. I quickly start to list 5 to 10 homes per month. I got up to 21 listings in 30 days, and then I trained my new listing agent based on those ideas who'd only closed 2 buyers before, and he got up to 14 listings in 30 days in his 3rd month on the job. So it's easy, and you can do it too. Just model the top agents. So again, here's what you get. You get 14 training videos of the top agents demonstrating their listing presentations. You get all the sample handouts, including seller lead sheet, appointment setting script, pre-listing package, listing presentation with full marketing plan, pricing charts and graphs, forms and checklists, and the seller handouts. And those bonuses, the seller lead sheet template in Word, the listing presentation template in Word and PowerPoint, my listing presentation I used to list 21 homes in 30 days, and the webinar only bonus of the Lead Generation Summit recordings. You have also lifetime access and the 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. So here's what to do now. If you want to take us up on this, go ahead and click that big red button under the screen that looks like this. I want the Listing Agent Summit recordings. Here's what's going to happen next. You'll see a page like this where you can enter your information. You'll get a payment option. We now have the option, so you can pay in full today, or you can spread the payments out over 12 months. And then press that green order button at the bottom of the form, and you'll be taken here where you're going to receive within about 15 minutes, you'll receive your username and password by email, and you enter it right here to get started on the program. Then, and when you do that, you'll be taken inside with full access to everything. You're going to see this is the first video that pops up. Okay, and your fast action bonuses and webinar bonus will already be preloaded and ready to go. Okay, again, you don't have to wait for those either. They're going to be right there for you. It all starts with taking action today. Again, you can do these slowly. You can try to build up your listing slowly using trial and error, taking some of what I shared today, or you can do it quickly and model the 14 top agents inside the Listing Agent Summit recordings and get there even faster. So again, here's what to do now. Click that red button on the page. You're going to get immediate access to the Listing Agent Summit recordings, including the 14 videos of the top agents demonstrating their exact listing presentations. You're going to be able to download dozens of samples, including pre-listing packages, presentations, marketing plans, and more. The Facts to Ask in bonus number 1, the seller lead sheet template in Word. Bonus number 2, the listing presentation template in Word and PowerPoint. Fast action bonus number 3, my listing presentation I used to list 21 homes in 30 days. The webinar only bonus, the Agent Lead Generation Summit recordings, lifetime access with a 30-day money back guarantee. And you can do that with either one payment or the 12 payment option, which is only available on this webinar today. Wow, I am tired. I talked a lot. I hope that you have lots of good questions for me, because we're now going to go into Q&A. Please type your questions into that yellow-orange box on the screen. And again, this is how you would do that. Type in your question at the bottom, enter. If you haven't done this already, go ahead and type in your temporary name, press go, and we are going to be ready to answer your questions. So go ahead and do that. And I'm going to leave this up while I answer your questions. I'm going to go over to my box and I'm going to try. Oh, okay. Still learning the technology here. I'm going to look now for questions that we've got. Oh, somebody said audio went dead, but I can still hear. Boy, I sure hope that the audio is still there. Uh-oh. Well, if I lost your audio, I'm sorry and I apologize. I wish I had more eyes so I could have seen that was going on, but hopefully we're back together. Video, boom. All right, so now I've got John. Nope, where's my questions? Here we go. Oh, here we go. How did you get the leads for the listings? From Kathy. Hey, Kathy. So yeah, the leads came in. As I mentioned, I just gave you an option here, by the way, that's really cool, that Agent Lead Generation Summit recording, where you can see what 17 of the top agents in the nation are doing right now. These people are selling hundreds, 200, 300, 400, 500 homes a year. They're selling a lot of homes a year, and that's probably your best source of information. What I did in the past was a lot of different things. I was working for sell by owners and expireds. I was knocking on doors. I used to actually really enjoy going around knocking on doors. I did geographic farming. We didn't have the web was just getting rolling as I was starting to wind down my business. So I really never got into the internet leads, but that's another source of business as well. Anyway, I hope I answered that question. There's a lot of different ways to generate those leads. And what I really want to emphasize here, and I really believe, because it changed for me, is when you get good at your listing presentation, you're going to get your confidence is going to exude so much. You're going to feel so positive that when you want to fill your pipeline with leads, and you will figure out how to do that. You probably already have a dozen ways to fill leads. It's just you keep bumping in the walls, right? My belief is that self-sabotage, that you would be getting more of those people to sign up and do an appointment with you. It's just that you know that your listing presentation is not very good. And so you kind of self-sabotage on the front, not setting up the appointments. So I know it's counterintuitive, but I think you have to go backwards, get your presentation down first before you're able to go back to the front and start filling in the pipeline with new leads. That's my belief. That's why I think that this is so valuable, and it's what worked for me. So I hope that answers the question. Okay. Next, what if they don't ask about the discount broker? How do you bring this up in the presentation? Well, I don't know. I wouldn't bring it up unless unless they bring up a discount broker, right? So we're going to do a session in a day or two where we talk about handling some of these objections and the approaches you can take. And as you're digging in at the end, you want to be curious and inquisitive, and you're going to ask questions. And it's going to pop up at some point that, well, so-and-so does it for less. Great. Who are you talking to? And now you can bring it up and address it with this form. So I hope that helps. Next, there are times I cannot even get my foot in the door, because they've already made up their mind and they will go with the discount broker. I understand. My hope for you, and by the way, these are anonymous, so I don't know who it is, but my hope for you is that what you'll do, and again, that's another course altogether, but what you would do is at the beginning, and these people actually talk about it in their presentations, but at the beginning, when you're going through your questions, one of the questions that many ask is, are you interviewing anybody else, right? And you can ask that and find out who you're going up against. Or what my suspect from when I was doing this, my suspicion is they're going to say, well, what's your commission? And you say, well, I'm happy to show you how I sell homes and love to disclose all that to you when we get together. That's one answer on the way to handle that. But they may say, well, I've got somebody who can do it for a great price. And you say, well, great. And what are they doing? And you ask them questions, and you're going to find out about that it's a discount broker. And you say, you know what? I've got this great definition. Let me back up. The way I would say it is, you know what? That's really interesting that you believe that you'll be able to save money by having a lower cost on the brokerage fee. I think that makes total logic to me. I completely understand. The problem is that a discount broker is always discounting, including the price of your home. And so when they get into the negotiations, they're typically not as strong as someone who's going to be very strong in their negotiation skills, which I believe I am. I would like to show you why I think you might make more money with me in the end when you walk out of closing than with the discount broker. Would you mind if I sat down with you for a few minutes and showed you why? So you just, by the way, I just made that up off the cuff, right? You try to think of a way to present your plan, and Shar outlined it and gave you some great ideas of why you're better. You just have to have the confidence. Now that you have the form, you may have the confidence to tell the seller that there are other alternatives. There's another way to do this where they're going to actually make more money with you than with the discount broker. Okay, so I hope I answered that question. And trying to work our way down the list here. I'm sorry, you guys make me laugh with some of your comments. Some of you say, well, you can get your foot in the door by mailing them a shoe. Sorry. Let's see, you can put the, okay, so next, incredible value, Michael. Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. That's my goal this week, is to really give you some tidbits that you can use right away. There's so many in the summit. Other than being in the summit, you can't get them all, but I'm trying to take out a few and show you that there's some great ways for you to move forward here. With the listing presentation as well as lead generation. Thank you for helping our industry. Thank you so much. Let's see, it worked the entire time for me. Nice, excellent. So someone said it's already working for them. Next, is this the same material that was in the Agent Summit 3 weeks ago? No, it's completely, thank you for asking, Lori. This is a completely different summit. We do different summits throughout the year. They all have different values and they're prepared differently and so forth. And this was a summit that we did a little bit back where it completely different. So it wasn't free to get into. You had to purchase to go in there. A whole ton of people got in and loved it, but it's completely different. Maybe I should have named it something other than the summit because it's so detailed and in depth. It's pretty crazy. And luckily the top agents were willing to share. Can you also do a lead generation webinar? Well, that's what we did with the Agent Lead Generation Summit. If you'd like, that's way better than anything I could tell you about because it's coming from 17 of the top agents in the nation. So consider getting a copy of that. And boom, how can we get a recording of today's webinar? Great stuff, Mike. Thanks. Oh, thank you so much. I don't know. This is newer technology for me, and as I keep saying, I keep screwing it up, but I'm hoping that there will be a recording at the end and I can let you read. I don't know. If there is, I'll let you know where you can get a copy. Are the videos live recordings of the other agents? So the videos are me and the other agent. We're on the line together like you and I are right now, but they and I are talking. And we're looking at their computer screen as they're pulling up example after example of what they do. So we actually do more than just the presentation. We go back to and we start to where the call comes in and how do you take that call? How do you qualify that seller? How do you find out what their timing And motivation is, that's the seller intake sheet. How do you turn around then and set the appointment? What do you do between the time of the appointment and the time of the presentation? Do you send out a pre-listing package? Do you send out by email, electronic? You do mail, snail mail, have it delivered? What do you do? So they're describing that and showing us examples. Then we go into the presentation itself, and they show us their exact presentation. Some of them role play with me through their presentation, and we ask questions at the end. Some of them walk through their presentation and explain what they're doing every step of the way. Some will do a role play where they break in and out. They're all a little bit different because they all have different personalities, but they all got us to the end. Then I do a section where I show them the common objections that you're going to hear from sellers and how would they handle those objections. And so they give us those answers, and then we ask them for, what would you do if you had this to all do over again? How would you make this even better? And they give us some advice. So it's really, really cool. The recordings are anywhere from, I had super fast talker, it was maybe 40 minutes. Most of them are about an hour to hour and a half. Some of them kept going. They wouldn't stop giving all this incredible information, probably went on for 2 hours. There's incredible, incredible information in that summit. Anyway, I hope that answers what we did there. It was super exciting. But they start at the time that the call comes in, and they go all the way through the end and everything that happens in the process. And in fact, some of the other things we're going to do this week show some of those unique ideas like a video emails and in-office appointments and stuff like that. So, okay. Let's see, what else do we have here? Do we have to register for every day this week? Good question. I think it's Canderson7, and no, you are registered once and you're registered for all the webinars. I will be emailing you out each day that information so you know when it starts, so we can get you in there. Next is the lead generation bonus new from this is the first time I've offered that agent lead generation bonus. Yep, it's just on this webinar, the webinar only special, and it's the first time we've offered the $97 per month for 12-month webinar only payment plan. So I'm hoping that's going to help a lot of people out as well. So good question there. How long do we have to sign up for the bonuses? That's a good question, and my objective is during this webinar. So I hope that answers that. And if you're thinking about it, that's great. If you have any questions for me on it, please let me know. I think I got down to the bottom of the questions. I don't see any other questions coming in. I'm going to try to do a refresh to make sure I'm not missing anybody. So just a second here. And boom, I think that's it. So congratulations. I'm really excited that we got the whole webinar done in an hour. I hope that helps everybody. And I hope you have a fantastic day today. Go out there and do great things. And if you want to master your listing presentation, consider getting the Listing Agent Summit recordings. I really, in my heart of hearts, believe that this will help propel you forward and have a super strong presentation. And then even backtracking, you'll have the confidence to talk to those leads and get more leads into your system as well. So again, thank you so much for joining me today on the webinar. I hope you'll join us tomorrow. Have a fantastic day. Take care. Goodbye.